Joining us now by phone, CNBC's Joe Kernan, who just spoke with former President Trump. Joe, it's good to have you. What did the former president tell you?
He was on the mend. He was in very good spirits. He said, except for this, you know how he talks. There's a little problem in my ear and his right ear. Other than that, he said, you probably heard about it. I said, yeah. And he goes, other than that, everything's great. And he was glad that he had turned his head, he told me at the last minute.
Was he introspective at all about the moment?
I've known him a long time, and it wasn't an interview that I was doing. It was more of a personal call. So introspective in the sense that I said nobody really knows how you're going to react with something like that. And I said that I thought it was, pretty courageous. And I wanted to know what he was feeling at the moment before he stood up, and why he thought it was important for him to raise his fist and say, fight, fight, and what was he actually talking about. And he said to just carry on with what he's trying to do, and, for lack of a better term, to make America great.
Did you ask him about whether there were any changes in plans for the RNC, changes in what he might say at the RNC?
He's when I do speak to him, and it's not that often, but I don't know how many people he talks to, but it's usually about a 2 or 3 minute call.
Yeah.
So he was more approachable. He was in great spirits. He one of the things that he mentioned was he was gratified by all of the wishes of support and encouragement that he was getting, and he emphasized from both sides of the aisle. And he said, I've heard from people that I wasn't expecting to hear from, and it was really, I don't know, he was very gracious about it, and was very. He wanted to stress that he heard from I guess, Democrats and people he wasn't expecting to hear from.
He spoke to President Biden, at least for a moment yesterday. President Biden has described their conversation as cordial. Did he tell you anything about speaking to President Biden?
Nope, didn't talk about that. It was like I said, it ran about 3 minutes, which is actually pretty long, 3 or 4 minutes. And, the other stuff was personal and, about my family. He knows my kids, knows my wife. And my wife, we were watching live yesterday when it happened. And we were shook. We were shook. My wife was literally hysterical. And we're still trying to process all of it. And, a couple of millimeters or centimeters, and I don't know what that would have been like. Sometimes I think we get to see a little bit too much in real time now.
Yeah, including the bullet itself in a photo by Doug Mills of the New York Times going right past his head. You're right to say.
If I'd been you, and it was going to be an interview, Katie, I would have written down some questions, but that. And I didn't, call like, anyone and say I want to talk about it. I just tweeted it out that he's in good spirits, and so it was more of a personal call than.
No, I understand.
I'm not trying to give you anything, but yeah. I did. For my own, I wanted to know. So I don't know how I would react. I like to think I'd, cover my kids, cover my wife, try to get in the way. But I wanted to know what he was thinking and how the first thing he thought was to stand up and. Because at that point, I think I mentioned that to him, that at that point, you don't know if there's a second shooter. You don't know if the first shooter's done in, the fog of whatever you want to call it. And he was kind of totally exposed. And, I thought that maybe if in his mind he thought the last thing I'm going to be known for is that I was kind of saying keep fighting. So I wanted to hear what his what his mental attitude was right at that time, because I don't know what mine. I might have still been on the floor. I don't know.
You got to imagine that adrenaline rushed through him in that moment, but then coming down from it, the feeling of, oh my gosh, but for the turn of my head, I could not be here any longer. Joe Kernan, thank you for talking to me. I know it wasn't an interview, but it is certainly interesting to hear.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn. MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.